Mathematically, the domain is the set of all inputs and the range is the set of all outputs. So to get the domain, we work in the x direction and we ask ourselves the question, what can x be? Well, we see that the function comes down, it's asymptotic at the x-axis, but it comes out all the way to negative infinity. So x could conceivably be negative infinity, but not included because no one can ever reach negative infinity, right, by definition. So we write open parentheses, negative infinity, comma, and then the x values can be all the way to this -1, to this asymptote right here. But we see that the function goes up to positive infinity right there, and so the function is not defined right there at x equals -1. So we write -1, but we put an open parentheses to indicate that that number is not included in the domain. We would put a bracket if it were included in the domain, but it's not because there's an asymptote there. So this is in union with -1, but not included, right? See, because the function is defined over this interval here, so we need to include this in the domain. -1 to +1. And not included. This is supposed to be a curved bracket because we see that there's another asymptote right here, and so x cannot be +1. Okay? And this is in union with. Then we go from +1 to positive infinity because x cannot be +1, so we put the open parenthesis like that. And it goes all the way out to positive infinity, but positive infinity not included in the set, obviously. Okay? For the range, we consider the y values. What can y be? And we start below and we move up. Well, we see these arrows going down to negative infinity. So the range includes it doesn't include negative infinity, but we write open parentheses, negative infinity, because it goes down to negative infinity in theory, right? But we can never reach negative infinity, so we put an open parentheses to indicate that it's not included in the set. Okay, and then it comes up to -1, but we see that -1 is included in the set because if x is equal to 0, then y is equal to -1. So to indicate that, we'll put a square bracket. So let's put -1, like so. And this is in union with. Notice that the function is not defined from here to here, to the x-axis, which is y equals 0. So it's not defined at y equals 0, but then it's defined all the way up to positive infinity. See that? So this is open parentheses because y cannot be equal to 0 out to positive infinity. And notice that we didn't include any term in the middle like we did here because there's no function values in between here and here. See that? Okay, this is domain and range. There will be a litany of problems worked after this one where domain and range will show up, and I would encourage you to take a look at those as you move forward. See you next time.